to overcome it, I just had to do it. And I just had to have a little bit more curiosity of what's on the other side than fear. And so I wrote about this recently of just having 1% more. Like you just need 1% more curiosity of what's on the other side than you are in fear.
Welcome to Life from Within, a show about transforming how we live and lead from the inside out. I'm your host, Kelly Dwyer. Today, I'm joined by Stephanie Postles. She's the founder and CEO of Mission.org, one of the world's most downloaded business and tech podcast networks. She's also the CEO of Relevant.com, a media strategy firm helping B2B brands show up where it counts. Stephanie went from running $1 billion P&L at Google to building a network that reaches millions. Today, she shares with us a powerful story of how she stepped out from behind the scenes to become a visible CEO, leading her company through near collapse while pregnant with twins and facing major life changes. If you've ever resisted putting yourself out there or wondered how to lead through chaos, this is an episode you won't want to miss. Hi, Stephanie. Thank you for joining Life from Within.
Thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
Folks, we have Stephanie Postles, founder and CEO of Mission.org and founder and CEO of Relevant.com. Stephanie, you were leading $1 billion P&L at Google, and you were in finance, and you started in finance prior to that. So you were at Fannie Mae prior to Google. So you were in finance, and then you made the leap to founding and running a company called Mission.org. And then eventually you've also recently started Relevant.com. So Mission.org is, for those of you who don't know, Mission.org is a podcast network that has tech and business shows. And these are successful, very successful, millions of downloads on these shows. And then Relevant.com, which is a more recent venture for you, is where you are helping clients develop successful media strategy, as I understand it, right?
Yeah, you should come into my team. You can come pitch it now. This sounds great.
Great. So you've worked with some big brands. Okay, rewinding. You were at Google, and then you went off and started Mission.org. Tell us a little bit about that, how that happened.
Yeah. So, I mean, Google, of course, as everyone knows, it was an amazing place to work. So much flexibility. I could do almost whatever I wanted as long as I got a great job done. And Mission was started as a side project when I was at Google. And this was kind of my thing. Every time I'd work at a company, I would start to get a little bored. I would start a side project. It happened at Fannie Mae. It happened before Fannie Mae. And so I definitely know my pattern and my history. And so after about a couple years of working at Google, Mission is birthed. And it started as actually a Medium publication. And it was just telling stories. That's how it started. Like, let's just see how this goes. And it quickly became the top Medium publication, millions of impressions and millions of readers reading all of our content every month. And that was when I kind of saw the opportunity of like, oh, it seems like we have something here. And right when I was looking at this opportunity, we had 500 people writing for us. I mean, the best of the best in the industry. That was when Medium decided to start getting a bit aggressive with us because they didn't like how successful this publication was that we built on their platform. Because at that time, they were releasing their own publications. They were trying to grow these entrepreneurial, self-help, inspirational publications. And that was very competitive to what we had built. And so they just got a bit aggressive. And that was kind of my wake-up call that I didn't want to build something on someone else's platform and completely rely on them to tell me it was okay. And so that's when I switched into podcasts. And that was in about 2017. And then since then, I had built about 40 of them and have really large clients like Salesforce and other big tech companies. That was the moment though. Once we switched into the podcast space, once we got Salesforce as our first sponsor, then I was like, okay, I think I should jump full time. And it was actually my manager at Google who encouraged me of that, which was, I should always give her a shout out. I mean, I was her top number one sidekick on her team. And I just told her like, here's what's happening with Mission. But I really love working with you because you're really fun and we get to do so many crazy things here at Google. And she was like, Google will always be here. This job will always be here. I'll hire you back anytime. This company opportunity will not. And so you should go and try and figure that out. And so she kind of like nudged me to leap full time into Mission.
Oh, that's a blessing. It's lovely to have champions in your life, in our lives, who really want the best for us.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yep.
Good for her. What's her name? So the proper shout out.
Yes. And Truster.
Okay, Anne. Thank you, Anne. Okay, so you jumped into this full time, and you had said when we were previously talking that you were really behind the scenes. So what kind of role were you in?
Yeah. So, I mean, this was still very early days startup. We were still trying to figure out how to build this company and make consistent revenue. But I called myself the COO, but I would do everything from, contracts, legal, HR, working with our employees, hiring, onboarding, working with our sponsors as like client success. So I was doing a lot of these things to just run the company, all the operations around the company and all the management of the employees, like everything day to day. But no one probably knew. Like if you were to look at mission, they probably didn't know my name because I was just like, I like being behind the scenes. I like just working with the clients and working with our, employees and making sure the strategy's working and like our billings are working, our finances and P&L is good. Like that felt good and it just felt very comfortable for me based also, from where I came from.
Right. So what changed? Like what was that moment where you realized you being behind the scenes was there was a greater cost to it than a benefit to the company, to you? Tell us a little bit about that realization.
Yeah. So I will say that over the years, many people were nudging me to like, hey, you should host one of these podcasts that you're building. And like, you should do your own solo episodes and do some of your own, like, get your own writing out there instead of just working on other people's writing and then publishing it. Like, get your stuff out there. And so I had a lot of nudges, but it wasn't until actually the company started crumbling that it was basically almost bankrupt. We had a lot of issues that happened that we don't need to get into, but a lot of issues happened with Mission where we didn't think the company was going to be alive. And my team essentially came and rallied around me and they were like, Stephanie, you have always been the CEO. You need to be in the spotlight. That's the only way this company will live is if you put yourself out there, get on camera, get on these podcasts, and make sure these clients know who you are and step into this CEO role. And so, yeah, it was definitely a nice reflection and it felt uncomfortable. I still was like, "Oh, I don't like podcasts. I don't like being on podcasts. I don't like interviewing people. I'm not sure I'm actually good at it." And they were like, "You are good at it. Get up there." And so it was really just my whole team pushing me forward, and me trusting them enough because I'd worked with them for a while. Okay, they see something in me that I can't yet quite see, but I trust them enough to believe what they want because it would not be in their best interest to have someone leading that they didn't think actually could lead. And so I just kind of trusted and also felt the universe tugging too. This is your time. You need to do this or this company will definitely crumble and die. And yes, I just trusted the recommendations from everyone.
Okay. So what a moment, by the way.
Yeah.
What a moment.
Yes.
You said part of that resistance was I'm not good at this. Like I don't
Hmm.
like doing this stuff I'm not good at.
Yeah.
So how did you overcome that belief that you had?
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of those beliefs were just protection mechanisms to keep me in my safe spot. I know I can excel at this thing. I don't know if I can excel at this other one. And there's going to be a lot of eyeballs on me watching to see, can Stephanie do what she says she's going to do? Can she rebuild this company? Can she host some of these podcasts? And so I think to overcome it, I just had to do it. And I just had to have a little bit more curiosity of what's on the other side than fear. And so I wrote about this recently of just having 1% more. Like you just need 1% more curiosity of what's on the other side than you are in fear. So 51% curiosity, 49% fear. And I was just curious of like, well, if I do this, at least I'll know I tried and no one can say I didn't. And I'm going to give it my all and just, I'm curious to see what would happen if I do. And so it was just that of like, yeah, wonder what's over there.
Okay, so
Yeah.
51% curiosity. You
Yes.
notched it up a
Just a
percent.
little bit.
Right.
Yes.
So there's have you ever heard of Marissa Peer? She's a
Mm-mm.
British hypnotherapist.
Okay.
And she has this quote that I just love. She said, "Change is making the familiar unfamiliar and the
Mm.
unfamiliar familiar." And
Yes.
so when
Yes.
we're in the process of making the unfamiliar familiar, right, we have to try new things,
Mhm.
show up in different ways. And I have found in my own personal experience that sometimes along with that comes over rotation. Right? So like we
Yes,
we
yes.
we're like, okay, I have to be more
Mhm.
this way. And so
Yep.
then you show up really that way,
Yeah.
and that doesn't work either. So I'm curious, were there any things that you tried where you showed up in an over rotation way? And what was
Yeah.
that?
I mean, when it comes to business, because I can think of a lot of ways in my personal life, like, especially after, like, getting divorced, I'm like, I swung so far of like, "I'm never getting married again. I'm just gonna be wild." And then I hung out there for a little bit, and then I met my now husband. I'm like, "All right, come back to a happy medium." So definitely in my personal life,
Yeah.
I've swung way too far. When it comes to business, I mean, I can't actually think of moments where I swung too far for that because we were in such fight mode of trying to
Yeah.
keep a company going, and it was me just being like, "What do I need to do to make sure this works?" But I didn't have time actually to swing too far of like, "Now I'm gonna be on 100 podcasts." Like, I just didn't have time for that. It was just, "How do I get this company back to stability and show up where I need to without overdoing it in a way that's gonna deplete my energy?" And just because
Yeah.
I was very conscious of, I know what kind of energy type I am, and I cannot be on for, 70 hours a week. I cannot be on camera all the time. And so, how do I just show up in a way that keeps these things running until I have a better plan? So, I didn't know what I was doing exactly. I was like, I just need to do this thing right now until I'm more informed to make a better plan in a couple weeks and then in a month. And I just kind of knew directionally where I was going, but not all the steps to get there.
Yeah. I love that. I like it's sort of a just in time
Yeah.
approach that
Yes.
it's nice using an approach like that allows us to receive the signals,
Hmm.
right? Okay, I'm going to make a shift here, or I'm going to take a step, and then I can read the signals that are coming back, and that's
Yep.
going to inform my next step. Okay,
Yep.
so it wasn't like you went on 100 podcasts. You started hosting how many though? How many podcasts were
Yeah.
you like, okay, to keep this company alive, I'm going to
Yeah.
host X number of podcasts?
Yeah, I did too. So I was hosting too. And then it was more also figuring out unique structures with team members to ensure hosting continued without pay. So that was the other interesting thing of like, I have $0 right now. We're actually in $500,000 of debt. And so the company is basically dead. But if I can keep these things going and I can get these other contracts, which at that point I was going to our clients and asking them for 2-year long agreements, paid partially upfront, which was very different than all of our agreements. And so I had an idea of like what I was going to ask for, but I also requested of certain team members of like, I can't pay you, but I need you to keep hosting in this structure. And here's why, and kind of showing them the vision of where I was bringing them. And all of them agreed yes to that, which was very surprising too, of just seeing how many of them showed up for small pay, partial pay, no pay. And many of them are still with me today. So,
That's amazing. Okay, so let's help the listener understand when you talk about clients.
mhm.
The model for this, you're not talking about advertisers, right?
No,
Your
no.
clients were more sponsors. You describe it. Tell
Yeah,
us. Yeah.
yeah. So it is an interesting model. So I call a lot of our clients partners. And so the types of partners we have are normally big B2B tech companies. So Salesforce is a big client of ours, New York Stock Exchange, Brightspot, Zayo. These are other companies we've worked with. So a lot of tech companies. And how we work with them is we've built out this whole network of podcasts. Like I said, we've built about 40 of them at this point. And we bring these big tech companies in, and they're able to influence the show. So they're able to request certain guests be on. For example, they'll give us a big list of their top whale accounts, hard to reach prospects that they can't get a hold of. We will book these folks as guests on the show and then introduce them to Salesforce afterwards. For example, I'll just use Salesforce as the example. They can also use all of our video and audio content, which is super important, especially now more than ever, is having access to good, high quality, authentic content. Like, you need it. And you also need it, especially for this new AI search that we're entering into. And then they got the ad reads as well, which is more of a traditional thing. Like, they would get the audio ad reads, the video ad reads on YouTube, and LinkedIn tags. So it's like this mixed strategic podcast partnership where we own the content, we own the shows, and we do that because we want to make sure that we are building shows that actually resonate with the market, which the market for us is a lot of these C-level folks who are listening.
Mm.
And then we show these tech companies how to come and partner with us on these shows in a way that doesn't ruin them, because a lot of big tech companies have tried to create podcasts before and they just die. And so we're like, we don't want that to happen. Let us show you how to leverage ours, while also making sure that guests want to join and that people want to tune in and it's great content.
Mhm,
So,
mhm. It feels like a very innovative model. Okay. All right, coming back to the personal growth of Stephanie Postles
mhm.
in this process. So
Yes.
the company's on life support. You are stepping out from behind the scenes, becoming
Yep.
a more visible CEO. What else about that was hard for you besides like the initial, "Hey, I don't wanna host podcasts."
Yeah, 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 yeah. I mean, things that were hard. I mean, so at that point I was pregnant with twins. So I was about 8
Okay.
months pregnant with twins,
Oh my god.
signing divorce papers. So that was happening at that same moment. And I was getting offers from, of course, my old manager that we talked about. Like, she's like,
Mhm.
Come back to Google." And I'm like, I'm 8 months pregnant. If I come back now,
Yeah.
then I go on maternity leave for a year.
Right.
You'll only have me for a week. And she's like, I don't care. Come back. Like, I'll have you when you get back after like a year or so. I mean, it was just pulls of like, ooh, look at this opportunity. You can have this right now, or you can take on a company that's dead and try and rebuild it, which feels hard, especially knowing you're having twins and a C-section in like a month or two. And so I think that was definitely hard, of like what was happening personally, and then just seeing other options. But then also looking at my team who was ride or die and being like, oh, like you guys are following me and you're ready for me to lead. This is a very good offer from Google. This would be very nice, having this kind of maternity leave and salary and benefits and all the things. And so I think, yeah, there was just a lot going on personally that also added to, what was happening for sure, to make it even more intense.
Yes, that sounds like an incredibly intense period of time.
Yes. Oh, and I had a 1-year-old too at that
Oh
time,
my god.
Grayson. Yes. So
Oh
I
my
had it. He was
goodness.
like 1.5 or so. So yes, lots of different dynamics. I'll just call it that.
Okay. Was there a practice that you were doing, whether it was formal or informal, that allowed you to get through each day with your sanity
Yeah, no.
mostly intact?
Yeah. I mean, when I look, it's so funny now because I mean, I think from that period, I have built up a lot of practices, to just ground myself, call my energy back, meditations, things I'm teaching my kids now. Like, I have a lot of different practices now that I wish I knew back then. And I think I had to go through it in that way of not knowing how to stay sane, really, of just like, I just pushed through. I just repressed a lot because I was like, okay, I can't be upset right now. I have two babies in my stomach. I have a 1-year-old watching me. My employees are also feeling scared right now. So I was just looking around and being like, I don't have time to process for myself what's happening. I just know I need to get through this. And I don't know why I'm pushing so hard to get through it. And I, at that point, didn't really have much of a community. I had one good friend named Jenny, and she would come and check on me almost every day. But other than that, I didn't have a lot of good practices. And after all of this kind of calmed down, I will say it caught up with me eventually, because you can't just repress things for that long and just suck it up and move on. And so it did catch up to me, and now I would do it differently. But yeah, back then it was just like, do what I could to make this work and to show up to my son and keep my body okay enough to have, yeah, my twins.
Yeah, I get what you mean about repressing 'cause you don't have time to process now,
Yeah, yeah.
right? It's just
Hmm.
that I just gotta bite down.
Yeah. Yes. 10 out of 10 do not recommend. I don't think it's a
Right.
good strategy.
No, no, but you know what? I bet you everyone listening has done it at some point.
Mhm, mhm. Yes, yes.
Uh, and then, and then you pay the price, whether it's getting sick, when you finally do slow down just a little bit, your body's like, "Oh, okay, now we can deal with that other stuff we weren't dealing with."
Yep. Yep. Yeah. I mean, that's, I think, where so many, diseases come from, dis-ease, and people repressing and not letting the emotions flow through and feeling it and working with it and checking in on your body and mapping emotions to your body. I mean, like I said, there's so much that I would do now differently. But, you learn, you grow,
Yeah.
and then you
Yeah.
would do it differently the next time.
Right, right. Yeah, I love what
Yeah.
you just said about letting the emotions flow through. Um I heard recently, and I don't know if this is true because I haven't double checked to research for myself.
Someone listening can check it.
Right, right. There was some research recently that came out that said, that indicates the that if we allow the feelings to flow, just flow through, it takes 90 seconds.
Yeah. Yeah. I would definitely believe that. I don't know about the 90 seconds part, but even like 2 minutes, 3
Yeah.
minutes. I mean, if someone hears that time, I think it could be very helpful because especially for someone like me who's very logical and sometimes can be caught up in my head a lot, I think why I didn't go into the emotions and didn't want to stay in them was because it feels like I would be in them forever. And I'm like, I don't have time for that. I cannot just stay here in a depressed, sad state and like, woe is me. I've got things to do. And as I've more recently started learning, like, how do you move an emotion through you and what tools can you use, whether it be sound, whether it be certain instruments, whether it be your own voice, whether it be like visualizing, like finding a tool that works for you and how your brain and body and heart work is very helpful. But I think I like like, it only takes 90 seconds because it just shows like you just have to let it go through you and pass. And it's not forever. Like it'll be gone. And then you won't actually maybe even have to feel that again like, in that same
Right,
way.
right,
Mhm.
right. But if we choose to hold on to it, then it's
Yes.
it's ours to
Yes.
replay again and again.
Yes. Yeah, stay in it.
Exactly. Okay, so oh my goodness. So you stepped into hosting, you were about to have babies. Now, did you even get to take a maternity leave?
No. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
see
can't
all the things
imagine
that
you
I regret.
did.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, whenever I meet, like, pregnant moms now or even especially, like, moms who are CEOs, I always share my story of, like, if I could have done something differently, I probably would have chosen just to be like, "You know what? This company, I gotta wait at least a month to come back. Like, here's what I've done so far, and it might just need to take a month pause." I don't know where the company would be now had I done that because it was a very, like, fast-paced time to get stuff done, but yeah, I mean, those first year of my twins' life, it's such a blur, and I think I was also in kind of probably a trauma response, trying to just keep my head above water, trying to breastfeed twins at the same time and be like, this is hard, way harder than my first one," and just learning that while also, trying to do stuff at the company and, a lot of debtors, like debt collectors calling me all the time and me trying to negotiate deals, and so it was a lot of things happening, but yeah, I wish I could have actually had a little bit more time to just be present with the twins. I learned from that too. And I also think that moment has allowed me to step into being a mom so differently now where I have so much presence with them because of that moment. Like I look back and I'm like, man, that sucks. I don't even really remember it that much. It went by so quick. And I know a lot of parents say that, but now when they're home from school, I'm with them. There is no work happening. When I'm with them in the morning, I'm with them. I mean, I just prioritize the kids so differently now of just like, you get to have all of my presence because now nothing else matters. And if I can't build a company that allows me to have that time with you, I might as well work a 9 to 5. I might as well go back to Google because the whole point of building a company for me is for the freedom and the flexibility and to be able to pull my kids out of school at 1 p.m. and take them to lunch somewhere with me and go to the park and just do the things that I want to do that builds, a happy life and yeah, the family unit that I want.
Mhm. They recognize when you're present.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
You definitely can tell. I mean, kids are so intuitive and tapped in and they can definitely feel the energy and they will know if you're there or not. And so they're such a great mirror for how are you showing up in life is just by you can see like your kids know. Just ask them. And
R
yeah, it's a great test.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, I'm gonna fast forward a little bit. Obviously, mission.org is still around, so what you did
Hmm.
was successful. You got through that period, and you said earlier in the conversation, "Well, I know my pattern. I start to get bored and blah, 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 blah."
Yeah.
And I'm not suggesting you're bored with mission.org.
Yeah.
And at the same time, you birthed a new baby, relevant.com. What was the growth opportunity for you personally?
Yeah. So
And
I'll say that, yes, I still get antsy and I'm like, "Ooh, I wanna try this little thing." And I have tried 2 new things now. So Relevant is one of them, but it's not a completely different offering, and I'll explain more about that one in a second.
okay.
But then I've also launched this podcast course I told you about, which
Oh,
is a
yes.
very new offering. So that one for sure is like entrepreneur syndrome. Let me try and launch something that's to a completely different customer that I've never talked to before and I've never sold to before. Relevant, though, was more To me, it was more of a branding and positioning play because if you look at mission.org, I mean, this is where our network exists, where a lot of our podcasts are and our content. A lot of the amazing guests that we get, the first thing they go to is Mission's website. And so on that website, I didn't want to have the strategy of how we're making our money because to me, that's two very separate things. Like if our guests are going on there and they're looking at what podcast they want to join, they probably don't need to know that, you've got a company like Salesforce using our podcast for account-based marketing and their content. All of our guests find that out after they're on the interview and during it, but I just thought that's not very good to have, our sales process on the same page as our network of shows. And so that's why I separated the two and just said our network lives over here. This is where you can find all the content. This is what our guests get to see. Our listeners can go find it. And then if you care about leveraging media strategically, that's relevant.com. And Relevant also came from a lot of our clients wanting us to teach them how to do it internally at their
Mm,
like these enterprise companies as well. And so that's also a slightly different offering. That's us more consulting. That's us coming onto their podcast and trying to help, create a successful one or make one successful that they're already running. And so it's more of just like this media consultancy company over here that also shows you here's our network you can partner on, or we can also help you with some of the things you're doing to show you how to better show up when it comes to podcast, YouTube, LLM search results within the written content. Like it's a very different world now. And so that's what Relevance for.
gotcha. You didn't want to muddle the waters on the
Yeah.
mission.org side for the
Yeah.
guests coming in. You wanted the value prop to be very clear for
Yep.
the potential guests. Got it.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay, that makes sense. All right, so tell us a little bit about the course. Tell
Yeah.
and how
Yeah.
that is the entrepreneur syndrome, like you
Yeah.
said.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see if it works the way I think. I mean, it is already kind of working. So I think people did want it. But this came from, I mean, typically our clients are only tech companies over 500 million ARR and they're selling to C-level folks. So it's a very specific client that we have. But a lot of people will come and say, "Hey, I'm launching a podcast. You've launched 40 of them. Your shows are topping the charts. Like you have millions of downloads. Can you help me with mine?" And I've always said, for the most part, no, because I just know that it takes a lot of work to get a show to be successful. And I also was comparing, like, okay, my clients currently will pay me a lot of money to get, have this partnership working. And a lot of entrepreneurs, they're like, what, $1,000? Whoa. And I was like, I just didn't want to, be in that space. And so I would help my friends here and there. I would show them, how to get their show maybe ranking and growth behind it and how to make a good podcast. But I had always been a no to it. And it wasn't until once again someone nudged me and they were like, Steph, why don't you put this information in a course then? You get a lot of people requesting your strategy of how you're strategically creating these podcasts and YouTube and media assets. And they want to they don't want to know how to build a podcast. They want to know how to make it a strategic asset to drive revenue for your company. Like they want to do what you do. And so I'm trying to remember who nudged me on this. I think it might have been my friend Lior, actually. But I was like, okay, interesting idea. And then all of a sudden, the people started showing up around me. And once again, the universe was like, yeah, you should do this. Here's the person who's going to do the whole thing for you. And I had this person come into my orbit who was like, if you record these things for me, I'll create the funnel. I'll do all the things. Everything will be done for you. I just need you to record and get the things out of your head into video format. And that's how that went. And I think we've already got quite a few people signed up for this course.
Okay, and so is this more of a B2C-ish
Yes.
play?
Yeah.
All right, and
Yeah.
how are you getting the word out?
Yeah. So right now, like I said, I'm not doing anything around
Yeah.
it, which is great. So he's got Facebook ads running, which he told me what he was doing. And I was seeing these, like a lot of people coming through and signing up for this first video that's free, this training video. And then they convert into the full course. And so, yeah, he's using Facebook ads and he has a whole funnel built up. So, yeah, I mean, his numbers are pretty crazy of what he's getting, like definitely good cost per conversion numbers and stuff. So I keep a high level eye on it just because I'm paying for the ads. So I'm like, let me look at these numbers and make sure they look good. And they do. So I just kind of let him do his thing. And I'm like, yeah, okay, go for it. If you need me to record more content, let me know. Yeah.
Sounds like a good partnership there.
Yes. Yeah. I try to find and magnetize people who can come in and just own an area. If you're coming in, I want you just to lead that area without me having to feel like I have to manage you. So,
Yes, yeah. Frees you up to be a leader, not a manager.
yep. Yes,
Yeah, yeah,
yes.
yeah,
I
yeah.
have learned that also the hard way. Like, hire A players and then just let them do their thing. Yeah, it works wonders.
It also sounds that you have the ability to let them do their
Yeah,
thing, right? Some
yeah.
people want to be that kind of leader and yet
Mhm. Yeah,
have a hard
it's
time letting go.
yes. I mean, it definitely takes practice. I think in the beginning, it's hard for entrepreneurs because like if you especially if you built the company or you co-founded it, you know you can do the things at excellence. All of them. You're like, I can for me, I was like, I can write really well. I can edit podcasts well. I can cut videos well. I'm really good at client communications. Like I can do all of these things really well. And I think it's hard to let go when you bring someone in and they're not as good as you. And it's good to assume that most won't be because it's your company and you had a lot of incentives to get good at all these things. But once you kind of get in the mindset of like, okay, even if this person does 80% of my best, that's great. Like, good. On to the next. Like, letting people in and assuming that like the only way to scale, the only way to build, true revenue and predictable revenue is to have people doing things for you and delegating as much as possible so that you can focus on the vision and the things that are in your unique ability, which was a very helpful process for me. I don't know if you've ever gone through and found out what your unique ability was and then outsourced all the other things. But that was kind of my moment where I did that and I found out, okay, these 5 tasks are my unique ability that no one else can do. All other of these 150 tasks, I shouldn't do any of them. Like someone will be so grateful to be doing this task and that's their unique ability. And I hope that they're actually even better than me right now. And so just kind of knowing where you shine at and how you're going to most help the company based off the skills that you have. And
Mhm.
then learning, okay, here are the many other things that I just shouldn't be touching anymore so that you can actually, grow the company in an efficient way that doesn't burn you out.
Right, right, and of course, you have the experience and the know-how around the financial
Yep.
modeling to
Yes.
make those decisions in an informed and responsible way, right?
Yes. Yes. Yep.
Because I think a lot of people understand, like, "Hey, I have to hire people to help me
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
scale," but, the numbers have to work. There's the top
Mhm.
line number, you want
Yeah.
that to grow, but the bottom line number is
Yes.
important too,
Yep. Yep.
right? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I think
Oh.
I mean, my background was definitely helpful too, coming from the finance space and that was something I had a very hard time of letting go of was our monthly finances. I did them for a while and I'm like,
Mhm.
no, this is my baby. I am the best at this.
Right.
But then being like, okay, here, you can have it as long as you do a pretty good job. It does
Yeah.
take a lot of time off my plate. But yeah, definitely knowing your numbers. But what's great now is that even if you are like, I'm bad at math, which actually I'm quite bad at math. I always needed Excel, but ChatGPT is very helpful these days. I mean, there's so many tools all around that can show you quickly, like, are your margins good? What are the industry margins? What things should you worry about? And so I think it's now more than ever an easier time to build a company with good financial backing behind it and a structure that works because you can just easily find out if it doesn't if you upload your scenario into ChatGPT.
Yes. Yes, and it's important to know what the right questions to ask,
Yes,
right?
yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes. You
yeah.
have to prompt it well too. I mean,
Right,
I
right.
I see a lot of bad prompting where people are like, "Look at my output." You can't just ask it that way. You need to give it a persona. You need to tell
Yeah.
it like play the persona of a top, CFO at a company, like a media company that has competitors like these people. Like give it some context and
Mhm.
then give it the scenario. You can't just be like, "I made this much money. I want to spend
Yes.
this much." No, that
Yeah.
won't work.
Yeah. Yeah, the context is huge,
Yeah.
huge. You've been out in front now, visible for a while. What's one cost of that
Hmm.
people don't talk about much or think about much?
One cost of being more visible is a lot of people start asking you for help. And yeah, I think that you just get a lot of outreach where people are like, oh, you're good at this? Tons of emails, tons of LinkedIn DMs of just people wanting help. So that's definitely a cost, especially if you want to help them. When I see these people and the questions, I want to help you, but there's too many of you and I can't answer all of you. And I'd feel bad to put my VA or EA on that because I'm like, well, you probably wouldn't actually know how to answer in the way that is me. And so I think, yeah, that's just one of the costs of just like a lot of people wanting your time. And then you're like, I feel bad. I can't give you all my time. But that's why I do things like this because then I'm like, go listen to this. Now you know how I think. Go listen to, you want to know how to be a good host? I already did a video on that. Like, So you can also, putting content out there is helpful that it does scale out knowledge, inspiration. But yeah, I do feel bad because a lot of people are asking me for help and I'm not the best at responding.
So what do? In certain instances, you just don't respond.
So yes, I'm a little bit quiet. I mean, and hopefully no one takes that personally, but yes, there's so many DMs on my LinkedIn that I just haven't even looked at yet. I mean, there's tons. So I think, and LinkedIn's very hard to keep track of them. They just all go into different buckets. I usually just don't respond, or if I see someone's asking a couple times, I will have my EA go in there and just respond and be like, Stephanie doesn't monitor this that frequently.
Is there something that you tell yourself to help alleviate that? When you say, "I feel bad," it's almost you didn't use the word guilt, but there
Yeah, yeah,
right? But there's sort of
yeah,
a, "I wanna be able to help you. I can't really I don't have the bandwidth, and so I
yeah,
have to say no, but I feel bad for saying no or not
yeah.
responding." How do you resolve that tension internally for yourself?
When when I was starting out building Mission, like early entrepreneur, or even like some of the side projects, I built some apps and just different things when I was at Fannie Mae. And I remember hearing a quote from some business person that I really admired. And they were like, please don't ask me for a coffee. If you want to basically have some moments with me to understand how I think, I have all this content online that is freely available. And if you go through the episodes with me, if you read my writing, if you come well informed, then yes, I will sit down with you. And I remember hearing this and being like, at first I was like, oh, I really love their business acumen, but damn, that's pretty harsh. But now when I look at it, I'm like, that's really smart, actually. Like, there's a reason why I'm on the mic talking and sharing and writing things and putting my life, out there on LinkedIn and putting a lot of my stories out there. I'm already sharing so much. And so I think that's how I resolve it of like, I already do share so much of everything. I've shared my business model, my struggles in life, what we're talking about now. So much of this is out there. And if I saw someone, which I'm sure maybe this will start happening after your podcast, but if I saw someone coming well informed to either emailing me and being like, I've done all this research and I still have questions or I still would love time with you, I think then I would be like, yes, okay, for sure. And so I always thought that back in my early days too. Like I wouldn't ever reach out and be like, hey, can I, you know, have some coffee with you just to pick your brain. I
Right.
never did that. And I would first get a bunch of research. And then I think, how can I offer value to that person first? Like, what can I do? Can I bring them on one of these podcasts, but give them a different offer so that they know that this one's an opportunity? A lot of podcast offers, not this one, yes. And so I just had to think about like, how do I bring offer to this person while showing them that I did, I respect your time and I did a lot of background research on you first. And I've read all your posts. Like, I read your book. I did the things that, show me it helps stand out, I guess, about like above other people who are just like, oh, I saw you on LinkedIn. You look cool. Can I have coffee with you?
Right, right. Well, there's
Yeah.
clearly some thought and an investment of time that's gone into the ask, and
Yep.
then the ask is more relevant for
Yep.
you, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
more likely that you'll get something out of it too.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, maybe I want to hire you. Damn, you did a lot of research. Like, yeah, there's lots of good things that could come from it.
Okay, so, for we're gonna wrap up here soon, but for someone that feels terrified about stepping out and becoming more visible, what's your latest piece of guidance
Mm.
for them?
One, I think that if you're scared to do it, but you also know I should, I'm just scared. Something you can do is a simple meditation where you are embodying the feeling of what it's like being out in the spotlight. So you can literally just go into a meditation and you can visually walk yourself through what would it feel like if I was in the spotlight? What feelings do I have coming through my body? Oh, wow, I'm actually really good at this. Like bringing in the positive energy that's reinforcing like you should do this. And so that's been helpful for me if, I'm scared or I'm like I don't know if this will be good. I'm like, well, let me imagine a reality where it is good. Let me imagine it feeling really nice to be in this position and to enjoy, the people seeing me out there and what it's going to do for my company. So I think meditation, like, and especially visualizing yourself is a really important tool that I think, all the best sports players, pianists, all of them talk about doing this. And I think applying that into business is really helpful too and personal growth of let me set a reality where that can be true. And what would it take? Like a lot of times it's just feelings. That's all it is. Just like let me feel that feeling and know it's going to be okay. So the other thing I'd say too is if you're building a company, I think that founder brands are more important than ever because people are looking for authenticity. They are looking for your face online. They're looking for videos of you. They want to see you showing up. And with all the things happening with AI and all this content that's going out there, like there already is so much of it. Showing up so that people know who you are and they can like you and trust you and that you can stand out in a really crowded market is super crucial, especially for the time we're in right now.
So you said that you went through a process of identifying what you do uniquely well. Was that a facilitated process that you went through? Was it just you sitting down with your journal and asking yourself the question?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's a Dan Sullivan process. So I'm in his strategic coach group. And so it's basically a four quadrant box. And the top left of the box is unique ability. Top right is excellent. Bottom left is maybe like sufficient or something like that. You're fine at it. And then bottom right is you're not good at it. Like you shouldn't be doing that for sure. Someone can do a better job than you. And so you basically just sit down and you can start it on just a weekly basis of looking at your calendar and being like, okay, I'm going to write down every single task I do, including house stuff, which is an important mindset shift for me. This is not just work. This is everything I'm doing throughout my day. How am I spending my hours? And you just go and you put them in the boxes of, okay, I am sending out emails. I'm great at it, obviously. I'm excellent at it, but I'm pretty sure someone could do a better job. Like it's not that hard to send emails or calendar stuff or buying groceries, cleaning, whatever it might be. You just put it wherever you think it falls. And in that process, that was when I kind of realized that the majority of the stuff I was doing day to day was in like not good at box. Anyone could do it. A lot of the stuff that I was doing. And that was very eye opening for me of being like, whoa, how do I spend most of my days in this bottom right quadrant? And I spend almost none of my days in this top left. And the top left is what's going to drive our company forward. That was things around, meeting clients face to face. That's something I'm like, I know I'm very good at it and I cannot outsource that. A lot of our clients, they want to see me and they want to see me in person. I wasn't doing almost any of that. And when I saw that visually, I was like, okay, how do I start delegating this ASAP? So I just started going box by box. So the bottom right box was the first one that was delegated out. And a lot of those were able to be delegated to a virtual assistant. So I went to onlinejobs.ph, found an amazing VA from the Philippines. She's now my executive assistant. And she took the majority of those things off my plate. And when that was gone, I was like, whoa, like I have a lot of time. What do I do with this? Okay, next box. And I just kept moving up until most of my day now circles around that top left of the unique ability that I know that no one else can do as good of a job as me. And that's even hosting a specific podcast, like hosting Marketing Trends. Our other podcasts, they can be hosted by other people, but Marketing Trends, that's where a lot of our clients come from. Like, so that is my unique ability to be on there with them, understand their business strategy, understand what they're doing, and then also show them how we can support them eventually as well if there's a good fit. So yeah, super powerful process that now I recommend almost any entrepreneur to go through is, see what you're doing day to day, because it's very eye-opening when you realize that you're probably doing stuff that you can hire someone for $8 an hour and they can do just as good of a job or better. My EA is better than me. She is great. And I'm like, oh shoot, I was putting on to this task of responding in emails to people and why? I wasn't doing a good job. So
I love the methodical nature of the process.
yeah. Yes.
I'm
Yeah.
a fan of
It's
that.
good.
I'm
Yeah.
methodical myself. By the way, your passion for the Marketing Trends podcast comes through in
Oh,
your episode. So if anyone's
thanks.
listening
It's fun.
is interested in marketing trends and what's happening and what's current, I recommend listening to that podcast. And you
Thank
get
you.
to learn more about Stephanie that way. So
Yes.
Stephanie, thank you for your time today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Where can people find you?
Sure. I mean, like you said, Marketing Trends is great if you care about marketing. If you don't care about marketing and just business entrepreneurship content, you can listen to Mission Daily Podcast. That's the other one. And if not, I mean, you can always hit me up on LinkedIn. Like I said, now you know a better way to get through to me. So you know the fast track. But also, I do look at comments on posts and I do try and engage in that way. So yeah, that's probably a good spot to find me.
Okay. And if the listener is interested in launching a strategic podcast, where do they
Yes.
find the course?
Yeah, I need to get this course on my LinkedIn, like an actual URL.
Yes.
See, these are the
Yes.
things where I haven't done yet. But yes, I will put that on there and start actually telling people about it. Like,
Yes.
hi, I'm doing this.
Yes. Well,
Next,
what's the
that's good
name of
next
it?
steps. Yeah, it's called Podcast Flywheel Academy.
Podcast
Podcast
Flywheel.
Flywheel Academy. Yeah, I think so. I'll have to
Podcast
check with my team.
Flywheel Academy. Okay. So, go search for that, listener, and you can
Yeah.
find it.
Go
It'll
Yes,
come up.
yes. Yep, I think. It'll come up, I think.
Well, with Stephanie Postles, right?
Yes, yes, yeah.
Postles,
Yep,
right?
you got it.
Then they'll find it.
Yes.
Well, Stephanie, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Kelly. This was awesome. You were awesome. Yeah, appreciate being on here.
Thanks for tuning in to Life from Within. See the show notes for links and resources mentioned in today's episode. If you enjoyed today's conversation, please subscribe, follow, and share it with friends and family who might enjoy it too. You can also leave a review. It helps others discover and benefit from the podcast. Until next time, keep living and leading from the inside out.